Man, get up here in the Loft and get your head right.
What's up, sinners? Welcome back to the Loft. All right, y'all. I'm finally getting back to the follow-up vid on the 6-day account that is traditionally called the creation period. Now, I reckon I received a little more clarity on this upon being baptized a little while back. Jesus was baptized in the river of judgment, that is, the Jordan. We'll get back to that in a little bit. But right now, I'm going to recap briefly on what I said in the earlier vid. God creating the world in 6 days would be amazing. However, God letting you discover that he set forth the processes that took the earth hundreds of millions or maybe billions of years to form, and upon its destruction, he restored it in 6 days is a mind-blowing miracle which speaks more of the power of God than just keeping God in a 6-day box. See, the Bible already says in Ezekiel and Isaiah, the earth was already here. Lucifer, who became Satan, sinned against God before Adam was ever created. And Satan got body slammed to an earth that was already here. Lucifer's pride got the better of him in his beauty and in his unjustly trades between kingdoms. Not only was the earth already here, there were also kingdoms. And I know some are trying to keep that kung fu grip on the traditional view and refuse to see that it's not talking about the king of Tyre. What God is telling the king of Tyre is that before you get too full of yourself, let me tell you what happened to my anointed guardian cherub when he tried to get mighty with me. So those who are hung up on old fossil records and say that those things disprove the Bible, no, it doesn't. The Bible tells us clearly that the earth was here before the 6-day account. Plenty of time for your dinosaurs to be around if you like. Now, before y'all hit me with compromising with secular science to make the Bible conform to human understanding, even creationists use scientific methods shared by secular scientists to come to their conclusions to defend their position on creationism. So please don't charge me with trying to find a compromise with secularism. My observations are based on biblical data, not human-determined data. Now, why doesn't the Bible mention dinosaurs? Because, simple. Do you think that the Bible mentioning dinosaurs would be the very thing that would make you say, wow, the Bible mentioned a T-Rex. I'm gonna serve God with all my heart now. The Bible mentioning the frickin' Flintstones ain't gonna cause you to come one more step closer to God. You'll just look for another reason to not believe the Bible. And I know some are going to try to say that the Bible does mention dinosaurs because it talks about Leviathan and Behemoth. Okay, 1, you don't need to make the leap to try to make them out to be dinosaurs. 2, the story of Job is old, but it ain't pre-Adam old. 3, Behemoth and Leviathan are most likely referring to the same creature, that being Satan himself. Lucifer is given an exquisite description, and Behemoth is described as being ranked first among God's creation, a prime creation, a chief creation. Lucifer matches that description. Not an overgrown lizard with the brain the size of a kiwi or something. But Zoe, it says the behemoth ate grass like an ox. What, a dinosaur is the only creature that would eat grass? Heck, even Nebuchadnezzar was driven so low that he was eating grass. You think that God didn't drop Lucifer to a point where he was eating grass too? Not just eating grass, but eating grass like an ox. An ox is a castrated bull, which means that not only did God drop Lucifer low, he dropped him like a sissy. He emasculated him. The Bible doesn't need a Jurassic justification for Jesus. A dinosaur will not cause you to believe God. You'll just find another reason to cling to your disbelief. But as I said, if you're really into Barney being here long before the 6-day period, you're in luck because the earth was here before that. Genesis begins with articulating the days. There was evening and there was morning, the first day, second day, and so on. That's what it says. That's what it means. It was 6 days as we know it and a rest on the 7th. Now many ask, did God create the sun and the moon
On the 4th day?
Nuh-uh. The light of the sun was let in when God said, let there be light, and there was light. In Genesis 1:3, the word in Hebrew is or, and it refers directly to the sun and the sun's light. So when God said, let there be light, he is talking about the sun. Now, this is one of those things that really throw people off about the 6-day account. People can't reconcile that in the 4th-day period of Genesis 1:14 through 1:16, it seems to say that God created the sun and the moon and the stars after he created the earth. That doesn't make sense. You're right, it doesn't. But if we actually take a look at what the scriptures say, it totally makes sense. Remember, y'all, God positions heaven and earth for us, meaning he loves us. You have no idea how much. Now listen, the scriptures don't say that the sun and the moon and the stars were created
On the 4th day.
The scriptures tell us what they were made for and how they would relate to us
On the 4th day.
They were already created. They were already made. The purpose that they would have and how they would relate to us was made
on the fourth day.
Think of it like this. You've been here, but now you wanted to go to school and learn a trade. Now you've been made to have a purpose in an industry. The sun, moon, stars, and all the celestial bodies are the same. They were here.
But on the fourth day,
they were given an assignment. They were made to have a purpose to us. As Genesis clearly tells us, let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. God loves us and positions celestial bodies for us to reach for, like Braille for the spiritually blind, so we can receive his message. When it says that he created the stars also, that doesn't mean that he created the stars on the
fourth day.
It's a just so happens statement. It'd be like me recording a song. Most likely, I'm gonna lay down the drum track first so I can have a meter. The song is gonna revolve around this meter, kind of like how the earth revolves around the sun. But chances are the thing you're gonna be mostly focused on is the catchy melody, kind of like how you're more focused on the earth. You dig the beat, yeah, but most likely you're gonna sing along to the melody. In the beginning, I created a song, and I tell you my chronology of making it.
And in the fourth day, I
tell you that I created the drums also. It doesn't mean I created the drums
on the fourth day.
It's more like, yeah, by the way, I created the drums also. Dang, Zo, did you arrange this song? Yeah. You made the drum tracks too? Yeah, I made the drum track also. Again, the sun, moon, and stars weren't created
on the fourth day after the earth.
They were already created, but their purpose was made to us
on the fourth day.
Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. For those who insist that the world was created in 6 days and wasn't here before, please consider this. What God does in the future, he gives you indicators by what he's done in the past. I hope we Christians can at least agree that from the time of Adam to the present, the earth has been here for several thousand years. But despite the earth being here for those several thousand years, does not the Bible say that there will be a new heaven and a new earth? Let's look at 2 Peter 3:10. But the day of the Lord will come like a thief. The heavens will disappear with a roar. The elements will be destroyed by fire, and the earth and everything done in it will be laid bare. Since everything will be destroyed in this way, what kind of people ought you be? You ought to live holy and godly lives. As you look forward to the day of God and speed its coming, that day will bring about the destructions of the heavens by fire, and the elements will melt in the heat. But in keeping with this promise, we are looking forward to a new heaven and a new earth where righteousness dwells. Now, as scientists get closer to the moment where the Big Bang initiated its yield, they find that the immense heat was such that the elements weren't even bonded. Total meltdown. The Bible just told you that there will be a total meltdown. You want the Big Bang? You're gonna get one. In an instant, all creation will incinerate where it stands and be reborn where it stands. Everything will be heat pasteurized. This is the judgment that will render a new earth in an instant that has been here for thousands of years since the time of Adam. So, that being said, why is it so difficult to understand that the earth was here for God knows how long before he said, let there be light? Now, back to the baptism of Jesus, and what does that have to do with the 6-day account? Genesis 1:2 says, now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. The now state of the earth had to be preceded by a then state. That now state of the earth was a state that was judged. You know how God judged the earth by flood in the days of Noah? The earth was also judged by a flood before that. And that flood judgment is the earth that you're introduced to in the first pages of Genesis, when it says that the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Remember, there were kingdoms on the earth. The hosts of heaven dwelled on the earth too, and they had kingdoms and trades. But the things that they engaged in and created were straight up dirty. And God gave the earth a bath in his wrath. And that flooded world is the world that he's hovering over. A wicked world, judged underwater. The world was redeemed when he said, let there be light. In restoring the earth, God reduced the opacity and let the sun's light return to the earth. Now, keeping in mind that the earth was under judgment and his Spirit was hovering over the waters, Jesus was baptized in the Jordan, the river of judgment. You are saved by grace when you accept Jesus as your covering your Savior. He is our covering, which means that God sees him instead of us, which means that God sees himself. Jesus is what he sees as a reminder that he created us in his image. So, when you go underwater and accept that you are a sinner going under the water of judgment and take Jesus to be your intercessor before the judge, the Spirit of God is there and he no longer sees you underwater. He sees a reflection of himself. And you, who has been here before, is reborn in pledge to the Lord. The earth that was here in Genesis 1:2 was judged by water, a world God loved, and hovering over it, he saw his reflection in it. And if God can see his reflection in it, then that means that he can see good in it, and it will be restored. That being said, the earth wasn't created in 6 days. It was restored in 6 days. Its blazing testimony is not only of the power of God over natural processes, but it's a testimony of his grace. Here's to the Lord who restores us when we're fallen. And here's to the day when he liberates us from the law of any gravity that we can ever fall to again. Anyway, that's my observations on the 6-day account in Genesis. Thanks again for coming to get that refill in the Zoloft. And if you dig our message and want to support, please visit my website, AlfonZoRachel.com. I don't think you can overdose in the Zoloft, and I certainly don't think I can overdose on your generous contributions. God bless you. See you next time. Not an overgrown lizard with the brain the size of a kiwi or something.